Stressful morning. Just barely dropped the kid off at her summer program. They were closing the gate as she went in. I'm going to go get some coffee and try to finish up the roughs for page 20, while at the same time acknowledging that page 20 has split into two pages, which is the second time that's happened, which means issue 4 is now, I think, at 25 pages when it started at 22 or 23, and it could go up again. I'm working on issue 4. I just got done with the roughs, breakdowns, whatever you want to call them. I do a breakdown, like a layout rough, but then it's like almost halfway to pencils sometimes, because it took, page 20 took me like over 3 hours, and it's not even pencils yet, so whatever you want to call that. But some of the things I've struggled with since the beginning of the first issue that I've gotten better is the amount of stuff I try to put on a page. I write it first as a writer, and I'll be like, this will be like 5 or 6 panels. But each panel's got like so much stuff in it that I struggle to fit it in there. And again, I've gotten better. I've given myself a few more pages. I've taken a few panels off. But even this page 20, had 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 panels with like an insert panel too. And the final panel was like this huge panel, like that would take up a page sometimes or half a page. So I was like, okay, let me get rid of that last panel and combine these other two. And it's still a little full, but it's better. And some of the things I was flipping through Kaiju number 8, which is a Kaiju manga. And I like it. It's not my favorite. The art is fine. Like, I think the illustrations are fine. I actually don't think the action is the best done, but I struggle with action. I struggle with action that'll read clearly. And it's weird because I've been doing a lot of pinups and I've been doing a lot of cover type things and of other people's characters. And I find it easier because I am precious in that I want it to look like their characters and I want to do a good job. And I've been doing package design and cards and things, all tokusatsu monster kind of stuff that like my book is. But my book is harder to do than anything. And part of it's probably because I'm precious about it because it's mine. But part of it is there's no frame of reference. There's nothing I can look at other than my own imperfect drawings that I see flaws with, that, whereas other things I can look at other artists, I can look at live action photos, I can look at designs, and kind of have an objective idea if I'm doing it right or wrong. And if I push it a little bit and I change it a little bit, that's intentional and that's fine. And, and a lot of times I'm like, let me think of a cool pose and I do that pose or whatever. Whereas in the context of the book, I need to serve the story and I have things written a certain way. And so there's challenges I run into trying to get too much on a page. For a while, I wasn't leaving room for dialogue. I got that fixed. I have room for dialogue. I have room for sound effects for the most part. But I'm trying to get too many panels on a page and too much stuff in each panel. And part of that is just, I don't know, inexperience writing for myself as a comic. I don't know. But part of it is also not wanting to have my books be 40 pages or not wanting to have 10 books. For those that don't know, I originally envisioned the horror as being about 40 pages. It ballooned up to like 120. Now it's, I don't know what it is, 130, 140. The story didn't really change, just the amount of space I needed to tell the story visually changed. And, yeah, it almost would be like, I guess I should have made this a 6-book series or a 7-book series, but it's 5. And part of it is, again, it's taken me years to do. I don't want to add more books on. If I do more books, I want to finish this story and then go, okay, now I'm going to do new books, new stories that can add on to that. But I want to finish this story arc before I start doing that. But there's a limit to how many pages you can have in a floppy. And I've set this up as releasing floppies first, even if I plan on doing collection eventually. But the other thing is I set it up because I had them as individual chapters where there's sort of a natural starting and stopping point at the beginning and end of each one of these chapters, floppies, whatever you want to call them. So if I'm like, well, let me cut off 5 pages at the end of this and I'll put them in the next book and then I'll add a 6th book, it messes everything up. So I kind of have to go with this. So I can add a few pages or cut a few things out, but I kind of have to keep 5 issues the way it is. The other thing is I was looking at the Kaiju number 8. And I just looked at the most current one I had, and I looked at a bunch of pages, and there's a lot of fight scenes in this one. And I would say the average amount of panels is 4 to 5. Some have 3, some have 2, some have 5 or 6. I have a lot of pages where I'm like 8. And then I'm like, let me cut this down to 6. That'll be better. And it is better, but like for fight scenes, especially big monster fight scenes, I'm just not leaving enough room. And again, this has been something I'm struggling with. I'm trying to do better. And so, but then I'm like, okay, let me do a splash here. And so I'm working on page 21, and I'm like, I'm going to make most of the page this big splash of the monster, the Horror 4 fighting this mech. And I gave myself room, but then again, it's like, it's not just like, let me think of a cool pose. I'm like, okay, well, he needs to be positioned here because of what happened previously, and he's pushing him this way, so it kind of has to be here. And okay, they're hitting a building, so which building is this? And I struggle with geography. Like, where are they? They were on the beach next to the city. Okay, there was that military base that got destroyed earlier, but there's also some buildings. What's left to fall into? And like, I don't know how much readers pay attention to this. I don't know how much other creators pay attention to this, but it's something I struggle with constantly, where it's like, I never feel like I could just do a cool picture in my book, at least. It has to, and maybe this is the animator in me, that maybe this is just stuff I don't need to worry about, but it's like, where are they spatially? Is it relational to where it was before? I'm thinking about the camera, I'm thinking about their positions, I'm thinking about, like, again, all that stuff. And, another thing I noticed is, I'm just looking at Kaiju number 8, they don't have borders around the page. On any page, it goes full bleed every single one, which I don't do. I mean, occasionally I have a full bleed panel, but anyway, I'm working on it. I'm making progress. I'm happy to be working on it. And it's a thing where I guess it's a good sign, where I'm thinking about things that I wasn't thinking about previously. Because I do feel like my art, every issue has gotten better. And if you look at issue 1 to where I am now, it's exponentially better, which it should be because it's been years. And so I'm happy about that. But it is a thing where, you know, you're always gonna be worried about something. You're always learning about something. And the things I'm worrying about now aren't what I worried about previously. I mean, yes, there's still a certain amount of anatomy and perspective and all that stuff, but clarity of storytelling has been a big one. And now I'm veering into clarity of storytelling, but also, can we make it more awesome somehow? Which again is just the essence of comic books. And you know, X amount of years into it, I'm starting to think about the essence of comic books. So there we go. But work is getting done. Work is getting done. Got done sort of with the roughs for page 21, which is it was going to be a full, well, hi. Finished the next pages of roughs, which is I think page 21 of issue 4. And I ended up kind of redoing the big splash panel 2 different ways. I'm still struggling with it a little bit. What I found was, one, the story flows more and it makes more sense. The other one is a more interesting dynamic panel. And so I sort of sent it out to a few people, like, which one of these looks better, just in a vacuum? But I could almost see a thing where I take the one that helps the story flow better and shrink it down and make that just be a skinny panel on top, and then have the big splash panel. But I'm gonna be done. I'm gonna revisit that. Like with a lot of this stuff, I'm just moving on. So I've got 4 pages left to do roughs for, assuming I don't have to fit another page in there. Today is Tuesday, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So my plan is to get each of those pages of roughs done by the end of this week, including Saturday if I need to, which I probably will need to, because I'm finding that it takes me 2.5, 3 hours to get the roughs done for a page. And some days I have more, some days I have less, but 2.5, 3 hours is kind of what I could count on for this week to have. So my plan is by the end of this week, be done with the roughs on the Hari for issue 4, which is a good milestone to be hitting. And I did look at some more kaiju books and other action books, just a little bit here and there. And it really does seem like I'm just doing too many panels per page. It'll be interesting because I know the next and final issue has a lot of action. Like basically, the action in this book ramps up more and more so that, you know, it's a ton by the end. So this book has the most action of more than the previous 3 books, and book 5 will have more action than that. So I guess what I'm hoping is that I could keep this one, I think right now it's at 25 pages, keep this to 25 pages, and then if the next book, or wait, is it 26? Anyway, it doesn't matter. If the next book needs to go long, then the next book will just be a little longer, and that's how it's going to be, but it'll be the final book, and blah, 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 blah. So there's that. So good progress being made. That's sort of the Hari 4 update progress report thing. Just wanted to throw that out there that I still think I'm on track to have it done by the end of this year. I mean, it's only the summer now, so that seems like that's so far away, but you know, as we know, time catches up. Yeah. Investigative journalism. You got a hot lead on a story? Okay, so I thought the video was gonna be done, but I'm continuing. I just, this week has been wild. There's been sick cats and sick kids and doctor's trips and lots of dealing with poop and things, and my schedule kind of got thrown off, but today I've been able to get some time back. My mom's watching the kid. And I did finish the roughs for page 22 and almost 23, which theoretically I think leaves me with 2 pages. But once again, I'm feeling the need for expansion. It's a battle scene. I'm struggling between, like, do I need to have huge splash panels? Do I need to have this much breathing room? Or am I being lazy? Am I trying to confine it? I think it's likely I'll end up adding another page. For those that don't know, printing goes in multiples of 4. So basically, if I have 24 pages, great, that's 6 sheets. If I have 25 pages, now it's another sheet and I have 3 pages to fill, either with story, ads, a pinup, whatever else. So it behooves me to keep it to 24 for financial reasons too. I think it's likely I'm gonna be in the 25 to 28 range. I don't know if I'll do 28 pages of story or not, but I'm gonna have to print 28. Which brings up another point, that I've been selling my comic for $5 since the first issue, which was a sad number of years ago. And at the time, it was a little on the high side. Now it's roughly retail for like a Marvel or DC comic. Some are 4, you know, some are 5, some are 3, but it's like, it was a little bit high, and now it's medium, and it's low for indie comics. A lot of indie comics sell for like $10, which makes sense because I make almost nothing on my comics. So if I sell them for $10, I would make more, but I also feel like I don't sell my comics. They don't sell very well. So the last thing I want to do is price people out. I have been thinking, with this book maybe being more pages and printing costs having gone up and everything else, I might raise my price to $6. Now, $6 isn't that high, obviously, but what I might also do is raise all my comics going forward to $6. Not the ones that are already printed. I think they even have a price on the cover, so I couldn't. But yeah, I don't like it though, because it's a weird, like, weirdly, $10 is high, but it's like, oh, $10 bill, it's $10. $5, $6, it's almost like, oh, can I have $7.50? Like, it's just a weird price. So I don't know, maybe I'll make cover price $6 for all of them. But if you buy all of them, you know, like buy all 4, it's $20 or something like that. Or buy the 3, it's 15, it's some kind of thing like that. I don't know, but making up for lost time. Today is Thursday. I had said by Saturday, by the end of the weekend, I want to be done with all the roughs. I still think that's possible. I still have to finish a digital circus commission that I'm doing traditionally, that I have to be home to work on, so I can't work on that now. And I've started picking up, I had a Silver the Hedgehog versus Mechagodzilla crossover. Sonic the Hedgehog and Godzilla has a crossover book from IDW that is either out or coming out soon. And obviously I'd love to do a variant cover for that, more for the Godzilla than for the Sonic, but I have a friend who is involved in Sonic, and I'm like, maybe if I finish this up, I could pitch it, maybe we could work on it together, he could sell it at his booth, maybe, you know, there's ways you can kind of buy your own variant, maybe he'll split it with me, I don't know, but it got me reinvested to that in my secondary project after the commission is done, and since I couldn't work on the commission, I worked at Silver a little bit today. Anyway, yeah, that's where we are right now. I'll probably do one more update. Yeah, I'll do more. Saturday, about 11:30, have a little time left, but I am done with all the roughs for issue 4. It was rough at the end, trying to figure out the ending, like the way I laid it out, the panels and what page count and stuff. Ended up being 27 pages. And there was a point where some of the panels, and these are some of the most important panels in the whole story, were just looking boring and terrible, and I was feeling pretty bad. And I was looking back at some of the other pages, I'm like, some of these panels are some of the best panels I've ever done in my life. And so I just worked at it, and I got it into much better shape. Some of it could still be improved, but it's good enough where I can walk away. And the whole book, beginning to end, is at the very least laid out. Some of it's penciled, some of it's inked. And when I go back to it, I might revise it, but it's 27 pages, locked in. The last page will be an ad or a pinup or whatever. I'm gonna put that to the side now and catch up on a couple other things, and then dive back in doing pencils, which at the very latest will be August 10th or 11th, which is when the kid goes back to school, and I will have theoretically more free time in the day than I've had in years. But I might get back to it before then. But anyway, that's the end of this update. I'm feeling pretty good.